Settle down. Visit those websites because you're just supposed to be our country. You're supposed to be able to speak out. But if you start to speak out, you become a target and you watch your.
Without struggle. And guess what? You can't have a house today. Even if you have two incomes, sometimes you can't afford a house.
What do you think it is?
It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to even have a job, even if you're a college graduate. You use your degree to burn to keep you warm at night because you can't afford the gas, even though the oil companies are making huge profits, and you also see the banks making huge profits. So guess what? People are not only saying that they can't survive without struggle, they're angry at the fact that these rich multi-monopoly corporations and the banks, they are making so much profit off of your blood, off of their blood. People are angry. This movement is about to explode. So your investments in struggle are the most important today. The time is now to struggle. Now, change is going to come, and it's time to cash in. The struggle is about to cash in on all these investments that we've made. The struggle is going to cash in, and it's going to be a lot of interest. Because it's been a long time since there's been a bit of cash in. So there's going to be a lot of people's interest. This movement will explode, and Dr. King's struggle will become a reality, and revolutionary change will become a reality with your leadership. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Let's give a big round of applause.
Yeah.
Come on, let's stay fired up. We're fired up.
Yeah.
Fighting for John.
Yeah.
Fighting for John.
Yeah.
Up next, I want to bring up another strong fighter who came from far away, came from Florida to be with us here today. I want to invite Reverend Bruce Frank, who's at the Poor People's Economic
I got my own. They're passing around those little people with these little sacks. They got like a little, a little bottle of water.
My name is Reverend Bruce Frank. I'm with the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign and the coordinating council of the campaign, as well as Refuge Ministries that's in St. Petersburg, Florida. We think it is a crime when empty buildings exist in New York City while people sleep on the streets at night, while the city spends $750 million a year to fund a shelter system that only temporarily houses people. So we've had conversations with New York City, the Department of Homeless Services, but it got us nowhere. So we went down to visit a good buddy of mine, Max, from Take Back the Land in Miami, because Max was doing something progressive. Max was saying, I have a homeless family and I have an empty house. They go together. So he moved those folks right into that empty home. So we came back in after visiting him and said, why can't we liberate such spaces in New York City? So Picture the Homeless has stepped it up, and we are starting to go around New York City, liberating vacant spaces and empty buildings for the people of New York City, because it is morally wrong when people sleep on the streets at night, sleep in parks, and sleep in subways. So I want to welcome you here today. We are here to march and let the world know that while these rich nations are getting together and deciding what our cities are going to look like, that we're not going to tolerate that shit. We will decide what our cities look like. We will decide the type of jobs that we want to have. We want sustainable wage jobs. We don't want jobs that are going to pay us $10 an hour if we can't afford to pay the rent. That doesn't doesn't work for us. We want a piece of the green job money that is flowing down, that should be coming into our communities, that should be part of Section 3. We need to make these demands, and today is the start of making those demands. Be safe out there. Think about the security force when they tell you to do a certain thing. Follow the rules of the security and the tactical people. Be careful. God be with us. We will win this fight. Whose city? Whose city?
Thank you, Rob. Let's do it a little louder. We need to be loud today. We're excited. We're marching up the hill in Pittsburgh, demanding jobs, social justice. Next, I want to bring up a strong fighter who came today from New York City but has lived and organized in many parts of the United States. He's a student activist with Fight Imperialism Stand Together, FIST. His name is Larry Hales.
Yeah!
I have lived in a lot of places, and the place that I grew up is just north of here, is Erie, Pennsylvania. And if you've not ever been there, if you've never even heard of it, it's just like Pittsburgh, except a lot smaller. It was built off of industry, General Electric, American Sterilizer, Hammer Mill Paper. These were some of the largest employers in Erie, Pennsylvania. Only one is left, and that is General Electric. All the people who worked for American Sterilizer and Hammer Mill Paper, they were cast off, thrown out, nowhere to go, no way of getting a job as good as the one that they lost when they had benefits and they could retire on a pension. This is what is happening all across this great territory that has been known as the Rust Belt. And if you ain't never been to Pennsylvania before, if you ain't never been to Pittsburgh, welcome to the middle of the Rust Belt.
Yeah, it's true.
Because a lot of what they call the Rust Belt, and we should stop calling it that, because we ain't done anything wrong. If we don't rust, if we don't corrode, they may have gotten rid of our jobs, but we still continue to fight, and that's why we are here today. But that term, the Rust Belt, comes from the fact that these people thought that they could make a great deal more profit by throwing you out and packing up the factory and shipping it off somewhere else and exploiting other people in other parts of the world. See, that's why we say we are in solidarity with the global unemployed and all workers around the world. Because they will go to another country and they will pay not even a fraction of what they pay workers in Pittsburgh. And they will exploit them. They will beat them. We have to stand in solidarity and give them no one around the world to exploit. That's when they can't pack up and go anywhere else. When we fight for workers in Indonesia, in China, and everywhere around the world, then we are fighting in our interest.
It's true.
The workers in Mexico, they are our brothers and sisters. Fighting for them and fighting in our interest.
Yeah.
All around the world, any workers, we are fighting for them. We fight for our interests. And they will return the favor and fight for us. This is how you build a struggle of working people around the world. And I'm not going to talk to y'all too long because we have a lot of people here today. But the one thing I would like to say before I leave is, see, they make you feel bad if you don't have a job. But if you're unemployed, you are not alone. If you don't have a place to stay, you are not alone. If you are facing foreclosure today, you are not alone. If you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from, you are not alone. If you don't know where your next meal is coming from, you are not alone. We have to stand up as people who deserve our human rights. We have a right to health care, a right to eat, a right to housing, clothing, education. These are human rights. And when we stand up and fight, not only are we fighting against the corporations, but a week ago, we saw these racist, vile right-wingers march in Washington, D.C., 70,000 strong. They don't speak for us. We organize against the corporations, but we organize against them. Why should they try and speak for us? They are not in our interest. They